Hi, hello. We are continuing with our introduction to Blender. This is episode 5. Last time we made this little creature. It's not yet finished. We created it from one box. It's slowly building it from low poly for few polygons with some extrude, some mirror modifier, and at the end we created this, which is not great but also not terrible. The thing is, I just can't invest so much time in some short episodes, so this is what you get in 1 hour. Okay, and so now imagine with what you could do with same tools. You don't need nothing more, for example, in a week or in a month. I hope you had your Blender open while watching this and learning, and if you did, maybe you created something similar like I did. What I would suggest also is to use this Blender 3.6.5. I think this is called latest stable version. Let me see. Let's check that out, because 4 is really nice, but I don't know, I think I had some issues with it. Let's go to blender.org, go to download, looking for Blender LTS. Yeah, that's the one. Latest stable version. Let this new versions, progressive versions, leave it to enthusiasts. As we work, we want stable version, no crashing, no stuff like that. Now, one of my favorite methodologies when I'm trying to learn something is a repetition, believe it or not. So for now I will abandon creature and working on creature, because we need to repeat what we know. I hope you have your Blender application open. You can even go and work directly in Blender. You don't have to look what I do. I will tell you everything what to do. In that case, open your Blender, delete your box or cube, default cube, adjust your viewport position to what looks most comfortable to you. Press Shift A and create a new cube. That's just thing we do in Blender. Okay, that's a default cube. Don't worry. With your cube selected, you can select it either with right-click mouse. No, you can just select it with right-click mouse, or you can select it by clicking on it in outliner view. That's this thing on top right, and go to edit mode. So I'm now teaching you, and I assume you don't know nothing about Blender, and you watch the episodes and you forgot what you learned. I'm trying to teach you the very basics. This is introduction. Go to Faces, select mode. That's just there near, and turn off that camera. Press I on keyboard and move your mouse to left, so you have this little square in the middle. Press E and extrude it. It will be our neck. Press E again and extrude it just a little bit. It will be our base of our head. Now press S on keyboard and scale it. Not too much. Press E again and extrude it. Make a head. Press C again. Don't extrude it too much. Press S. Scale it inward to create a head. Now press select left side. Is it left? It depends how you look at it. It's right. Select right and left side of that big cube you had in the middle. Press I again. Scale it. This will be our hand. Move it inwards. Scale it, sorry. Press E, sorry. Now click extrude region and select extrude individual. With your faces selected, and press E, move and create your hands, or sort of hands. Okay, not really. Don't worry, we will fix this later. I just want to I want you to repeat everything what I taught you. Press loop cut, select loop cut from toolbar, create one cut on this object in the middle. Now you have those at the bottom of your cube, you have those two faces. Press I once, it's not good, they inset together. Press I once more, now they're insetting individually. Press E, extrude, make legs. Press E once more, extrude just enough so you have your feet. Select front faces of your feet, press E, extrude upwards. Now you have some kind of feet. This looks funny. It's just some giant bulky figure. But we created it. If you followed me, we created it almost all on a keyboard. And if you were slow, don't worry. One day you will do this in like 3 seconds and you will have your base mesh to do whatever creations you want to do. Press 3 on numerical keyboard. We want to see the side of this abomination. Select toggle X-ray, or as I called it, see-through, because that's how it was called in 3D Studio Max. Select vertex select mode. Don't forget to read this little text, pop-up text about tools, what it says. Shift click for multiple modes, control click, contract selections. There you go, you already learned how to select and multi-select vertices. But I want you to press B to select inner hand. Oh, sorry, I had feet selected. Press B. What is going on? Do I have something turned on? No, global. Edit mode. Okay. I could almost say it acts weird. But I hope you are following. Select those vertices, move them around. I'm sure something is going on I'm not yet aware of. But I'm not sure what. You are now free to move these vertices and edges to create some humanoid figure. We're not making anything realistic. We just learn basic stuff in Blender, and that's moving vertices, extruding, insetting, smoothing. As I said, however stupid this looks to you, it's really powerful way to model and create something. At the end, soon you will realize that you don't need this cube. You can create these faces on your own. You only need 4 or even 3 vertices. You can connect them with edge, and you can create face. And you will be able to create, well, almost anything in Blender. Abomination. Okay. Its sole purpose is to repeat what we learned. Maybe it looks stupid. It does look stupid. Oh, we have double extrude here. Always beware. Extrusion can be tricky. You can very easy accidentally create extrusion without even noticing it, and it can be hard to notice, and it's also hard to fix later. Whenever you see some edge or some vertices thicker than the other ones, that probably means you created extrusion but didn't move it. Our little ugly humanoid is done. As I said, its purpose is solely to remind you of operations I'm trying to teach you. To continue that repetition is madre studiorno, we will add subdivision surface. We don't care how funny it looks. Don't forget to turn on your shade auto smooth right there from object menu. I don't know, some people call this design. Now, if you applied subdivision surface, turn it off. If you remember how it's done by it's applied by selecting it from modifier menu, subdivision surface, and it's turned on and off with these little icons. One is monitor display, the other is looks like camera or something, DSLR. Some people like to work on their low poly mesh with subdivision turned on. It's not impossible, it's okay, but it obstructs our view to see the mesh and edges clearly. So now let's do some work on edges. Select that edge just below the jaw line, if you can call it jaw line, above the neck. Move mean, it's not main, it's mean crease from this fly out menu, from this fly out vertical menu on item. Turn on your subdivision so you can see what that crease done to this ugly mesh. It made an edge sharp. Now with this And with what I taught you in a week, I don't know what you can do. Really everything. Add to that sculpting, UV wrapping, and texture paint, and you're ready. You don't need to do anything else. You can create creatures. Okay, our humanoid person served its purpose. Now we are going to learn new things. If we hopefully learned already this. And what could it be? Let's do that ugly boolean, because that's something all newcomers and newbies to Blender do. People just love to boolean. What is boolean? Press Shift A, create some big nice UV sphere. Open this, don't forget about this little temporary dialog, and make it 2 meters, make it 64 segments, and double the number of rings by pressing times 2, 32, okay. Pick that shade auto smooth, and you will have this big giant sphere. Now create a cube again. Here it is, inside. Now you're asking, could I maybe cut out the cube from this sphere? You probably could. Would you like to align your objects? That's a good question. Press space if you had adjusted your Blender for space to open search. I think that's useful. And try to find align. And where is align? Align everything. Align objects. There are no align objects. Object align aligns us. And where is my align? It said it's in view. Align, okay. Align view. Forget about align. Just use that little yellow orange square on properties panel. Go to object data, object properties, adjust your cube to be in the middle. Press G, press X, move your cube, and let's do that boolean. Go to modifiers, select boolean with one object selected, and no, sorry, I picked bevel. We have 3 ways to boolean something: intersect, union, difference. With one object selected, you press this little whatever it's called in English, and press other object, In outliner view, you hide that object, and there you go. You can see your boolean. Sometimes you can expect issues with this tool. Sometimes it will just won't work. You can try moving your objects a little bit to some more logical position. You can try switching these solvers. But basically that's boolean. Sometimes some holes and some kind of models only can be done with boolean. I'm, for example, not sure how would I cut a sphere with some thin distorted plane that goes in waves. I'm really not sure. How would I model that without boolean? With boolean, I would just cut the sphere with that object already created. Can I add more booleans? Sure. I will create one more cube, scale it a bit. One more boolean. Yeah, a new one. Which one is newer? Oh, this one. Difference, you pick that new cube, you hide it, there is a hole. Maybe union, maybe intersect. Now you are just left with intersection of these two objects. And it doesn't look that bad. Professional 3D modelers won't hate you for this, except you have these triangles no one likes. But if your mesh looks good, like this mesh looks good. It's sharp, it's clean, there are nowhere some artifacts boolean can create. Then generally if your mesh looks good, then it's okay. Then your boolean operation is justified. You've done a good job. You created something really quickly and it works. But let's try to create a mess. I want to create a mess. Now I want to create a mess with maybe new boolean. Okay, new. And I will leave this to flat shaded. Okay, let's see. New boolean. I pick this sphere. I must hide this sphere. Again, I have good results. Now I really want how to create bad results. Now I'm not sure anymore. I mean good for something. Okay, this is good for something. As you can see, our original 3D object stayed with smooth mesh, but our hole in that object that was created with flat shading has flat shading. Still, this is again a good mesh. Maybe not some 3D game assets, but it's good. No artifacts, no nothing. I really want to achieve those artifacts, so I will continue. What to do to get to these ugly artifacts? Maybe something like this. Now I want to punch a hole in this sphere with new Boolean modifier, difference, hide. Still good results. We still have our original mesh, okay. We still have good results. This is annoying. Okay. I want to turn on wire. But you can already see where the wire is. If this is just some static 3D rendering, some artistic stuff for your ads you will use in Photoshop, and if this thing here renders smoothly and has a nice shades and no artifacts, you can go with that. But professional Blender users will start asking you, what kind of topology is this? This could be achieved with just two circle loops connected, bridged together and stuff like that. Actually, they would have a hard time modeling this without Boolean. Still, I didn't any artifacts. No artifacts. Oh my god, how can I create some ugly artifacts? What do people do when they get those artifacts? I'm not sure right now. So you realized Boolean is a good tool. It can create unified objects. It can create intersection. It can punch holes. It's a one way to punch a hole through a 3D model. But no one likes it. You ignore that, because if you're able to create good, decent looking objects, 3D objects with Boolean, and if you don't see deformations and artifacts that are usually really hard to fix, especially if they are on curved surfaces, then you can use Boolean. Why not? As you learn and as you go, you will find new ways to punch a hole or to create a hole and do everything Boolean does without using Boolean, and also do everything that Boolean does while also keeping your topology clean and logical. And sometimes that's really useful. Good topology of your 3D mesh. So that was Boolean. Let's repeat our Bevel lesson. Make a cube. If you didn't notice, I'm in this flat viewport, flat shading, solid shading, and if I press this little arrow, I can pick various kind of materials. I'm in this white madcap, and I turned on cavity. Cavity is something nice. It adds some small, really small micro bevel to your edges, so your edges are more pronounced, and it also do the same thing for details on your object. It's called cavity. If you know what cavity means. So now we want first to be sure you learned your apply transformation lesson from those first videos, unlucky first videos with that awful music being on higher volume than my voice. Press S, press Y, scale this thing on Y-axis, and go and apply bevel modifier. You will again see this bevel is not good, you don't like it, it's not equal. Turn off your bevel. With your selected objects, press Ctrl A, apply all transforms to your object. So it's again, its scale is just 1, 1, 1. This is maybe useful for something. I actually think it's redundant, and I'm annoyed by it, but not too much. And now your bevel works fine. Let's learn a few things about modifiers stack and that obnoxious way to model something which is called non-destructive modeling. Why is it called non-destructive? Because you still have your box untouched if you turn off your bevel, and you can always turn it on. Now I want to use that Boolean again, so I create another cube. I will also scale it upwards and to some on Z-axis. I want to create one narrow hole in this object. So I will use Boolean difference. I'll pick this object, hide it, and now we have our bevel and our Boolean, and you can see results. Other edges are Booleaned, and these edges that are cut with beveled, and these edges that are cut with Boolean are clean. You can maybe switch these, yes, and it changes things. Now let's do something every newcomer to Blender does, and that's Scale up this cement value until, oh, I can't do it anymore. Yeah. Scale it, and you see it stopped at some moment and doesn't want to move anywhere else. Let's try to do something else. Instead, we type, instead of offset, select width, depth, percent. Oh, this is weird. Percent is weird. I wasn't even aware it can do this. Oh, we have limits. Let's do it again. It offset without our limits turned on. No, it stopped. So now you realize this Boolean, modifier Boolean, is much more, I'd say, robust than the one we have when we enter in object mode. Now let's turn those. Let's turn the bevel off. And when we go to object mode, we see just our cube. Let's apply this Boolean without bevel. Let's even apply transforms again, just to be sure. And now we have the same object with this hole, and we will try this bevel. Look what bevel can do. Say this bevel in objects in edit mode can will just leave you to do bad things. Don't forget that. Also don't forget that this looks bad somehow. See, it does look bad. And we created them. I wanted to create these artifacts, so my blenderers know what artifacts are. You realize there's something wrong here with Boolean, but the best thing for you to learn, we can undo this, edit object Boolean. We can check if there is another no. So there are a few things here. Don't forget this hole is created with Boolean. It looks completely normal, but I'd say it doesn't behave normal. See, it definitely doesn't behave. That's the stuff with. I thought there is another. I thought there is another edge, but no. So that's the stuff with Boolean. Boolean just. It works, but it creates some weird stuff. Now to control this, I will select all these vertical edges, and I want to Boolean just them. Okay, now this makes sense a little bit more. Now I want to select this loop here and Boolean it, I can Boolean, yes, and see, we can go over the limits and create this really ugly stuff, and we don't want to do that. It's important not to do that. It is also important for you to understand Where's my little black dialog? Here it is. That you can approximate one corner, approximate value of that one corner, and to try to round it, you can go to its limits, and you can't go above its limits. The other problem with this object is this face. This is not a quad. This is not an n-gon. What is this? This is Boolean created it, and Boolean doesn't care. You don't have enough topology for this face to be created. This can work, of course, but if you try to do anything with it, it will fall. What I would do here is to use knife. Like this. And to create a normal topology for this kind of shape. See? All quads. Now I'm sure even my bevel works better until I reach this limit here. See the limit. So be aware of that. Don't be noob. I could swear we started some hard ops modeling here. Hard ops modeling, something everyone loves. We all click like when we see it on social networks. It involves lots of hole cuttings and vents and screws and weird mechanical coverings and shapes and buttons. And I'm sure those people use Boolean often, but don't forget they also have some other tools at their disposal and some really powerful add-ons like box cutter, for example, which is some sort of Boolean but better. That's a lesson about Boolean. I'm sure you will try to use your Boolean on, for example, sharp angles. Let's create some sharp angle with my favorite kind of drawing, 2D lines in Blender with just one point. I created it like Shift A, point. It's a point. It's one point of one curve. I'm in edit mode. I can extrude it again, 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 again. I left it open. You know why? Because you can In Blender, you can connect this if you maybe press F. Yes, you can. But you can also check this cyclic hue. I have to delete this vertex. Okay, now we have some really sharp angles. This is, when you see this little green line, that means this is 2D line. Even if it's 3D, 2D line can be 3D. This is 2D 2D line. This is 3D 2D line. It's a line. It's not 3D object. But even if it's a line, you can create some geometry with it. Especially you can create some round bevels with it, and they work fine. Little unpredictably, but it looks nice. But we don't want that. We don't want extrude either. We just want our line, and we want our line to create the mesh. If we press Alt C, we'll get to this convert to little dialog, and it asks me convert to curve, mesh, grease pencil, whatever. I want mesh. Now this looks like same line object, but it's not line anymore. Now it's vertices connected with edges without the face. If we select all, press A and press F, we will fill this face. If we select that face, we can extrude it, and we will get this 3D extruded sharp angle thing. Okay, let's try to bevel this. I want to bevel this part of object and bottom, and look. See, know your limits of your bevel. You can go here, 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 and not anymore. Let's see what happens if we create some segments. It looks good. No artifacts, no nothing. Looks good. Undo it. Let's not forget one thing with bevel. Bevel operations you do on your object in edit mode. It's not something, once you've done it and left the mouse, it's not something you can do again with your mouse. You have this little black dialog. Once it's gone, it's gone. The bevel is done. You will see this yellow dotted line staying here, almost inviting you to do more bevels. Don't do it. It's a trap. Now let's do something all newbies do, and that's beveling a whole object. Select your whole object and do bevel. It already looks bad. And it looks bad especially here. At this intersection point. So I want you to be aware of that. I want you to be aware of bevel limitations. I want you to know what clamp overlap is. In some cases, when you click this, bevel won't let you go doing overlaps and going above what it can do. Sometimes you can improve your results by choosing another way of Blender handling these sharp angles. As you can see, it patched this really nice, but some artifacts stayed there. You can say later it was on purpose. How would I tackle this? I would probably first bevel these sharp angles, and obviously I would lose sharp angles. But then again, if you want sharp angles, why are you beveling? Then I would try to bevel the upper part, but I would know my limit. See how bevel on this sharp angle here overlaps. Try to clamp it. Clamps say this is the best I can do, please don't turn, don't go anymore. I would say okay, and I would have beveled edges. They look nice. If I turned on auto shade smooth, all I can see is cavity artifacts. Let's not forget, our Blender don't like faces like this. So this is a face with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 vertices and no logical connection between them. When you create faces like that, that's a recipe for artifacts. That's a recipe for cases where you don't know what's happening, and you will start posting threads on Reddit. Can you please help? Why my mesh looks like this? It's easily fixed. You see, I added just a little bit here. I added more geometry, and those are, I could call them maybe quads. They look like quads. Let's see, maybe we can learn something about selection. We do many selection here. I selected this one vertical edge, and then I'm really lazy to turn around objects. Can I select maybe other edges like that? I think there's something called edge rings. Yes, I can. Those are the rings. Let's try bevel again. I don't know, it works much better. Again, we have unnecessary topology, ugly topology here with lots of these triangles, but Our bevel looks good. Let's see if we can now. Oh, we don't have edge loop here anymore. It's broken. That's usually not a good sign. As if Blender trying to tell you I'm not sure what I'm doing here. We already have some artifacts. I managed to create it. And it's all because of these ugly triangles here. At the end, why would you want to bevel this? And how is that newcomers to Blender and new future artists always find a way to create some, and me too, to create some meshes that create problems. Maybe we need here some better topology than these simple edges. Let's delete them. X, no, don't delete, dissolve these edges. Turn on snapping on vertices. Let's do some cutting. Go to vertex mode. What if there's a really solid quad here? See? A quad. One more. Let's now try bevel. Oh, even worse. It's not good. And maybe there was some good bevels here on this sharp angled object, but I think you learned a good lesson about bevel and what bevel does and how bevel behaves on these sharp inward angles and outward angles too. Then you can maybe just say, hey, I like this Z like this, maybe this is it, and maybe I don't need that another bevel. I think we got some basic bevel lesson here, and there are so many modifiers. Lots of them I don't even use. Sorry. Screw modifier. And now this one is interesting. Maybe you should know about screw modifier. If you're coming from other software like 3D Studio Max, you may know it as latte. It's not latte macchiato. Latte coffee. It's latte. It's like that giant machine, industrial machine that cuts circular shapes out of steel and metal and wood, plastic. Go to your front view, press 1. Let's draw that curve with point like I do. Press 3D already on your little black curve properties editor. If you're already in edit mode, your dot point is selected. Press C to extrude it upwards, somewhere, doesn't matter, and create some shape, something, anything. It also doesn't matter. How to work with this curve? This curve is best. It's straight with sharp angles. You can draw anything with this curve. This is the best curve. I made this. Okay. It's I don't know what it is, but what's important, it looks like a half section of our future object. We can have it selected, and we can go to screw modifier, and it will screw it. It created screw steps, which is basically a density of your screwed mesh. You can enlarge it, maybe to 32. If you leave your object with screw modifier, don't forget to enlarge those segments for render too. You can maybe work with 32 and have 64 value for rendering. It can merge things, and that's a good thing to do, good thing to check. It can merge. It can screw on various axes, but most obvious is upwards pointing one, Z. You can maybe screw your object less than 360. But who would do that? Someone. And you can create a real screw. That's why it's called screw. And you can also even add iterations to that screw, which is something I almost never used. I didn't create screws. I used screw modifier to create pots, bottles, glasses, anything that's symmetric and that goes around its center. Now, don't forget that cool little empty plane axis helper thing. Sometimes your screw will need that axis object there, Now if I move my axis object, I distort and control my screw on a completely different way. But if you want to model a glass, a bottle, or cup, anything, as I said, table leg, anything that's symmetrical around, you can use screw, and with your axis 3D helper right in the middle of your object. One cool thing with screws, and with all non-destructive modifier, is that you can continue to adjust your shape and have your screw like this. See? While we are at it, we created this line, 2D line, just from one point, extruding that one point, but we still have these corners, and they still have these tangents. What's it called? How it's pronounced? Tangents. It's a good thing to learn, to work with 2D lines, with curves inside Blender, and usual commands are V to control your handle to be automatic. You can also control it by your hand. Like this. Press V again, get to know what each does, what is automatic, what is free. See, when it's free and you still have some sharp edge created with your tangents, it will be visible in your mesh. So that's why I like to use automatic. There is a little hole here, see? This is a vertex or dot that was a bit far away from the center. I can move it to center, but just to be sure we don't see it, we can merge it in our screw modifier. So we don't have merge. So we don't have these weird holes. Now this is a chalice. chalice. In my old hometown, in old state, we would call cups, we would call them chalice. And I always wondered from where that came from. Oops, I'm sorry. I hit my mic. Boom. So, that was screw modifier. And imagine all those glasses and bottles and cups and legs, table legs you will be creating with it. One important thing, if you try to apply it, it won't let you. Why is that? Because it's a point, it's a basically still 2D object. It's not a mesh, it's 2D object with modifier attached onto it that created some illusion of 3D object. If you're satisfied with your screw and you don't want to screw it again, press Alt C, convert it to mesh, and now look at your mesh. It's beautiful. It has beautiful topology. It has one giant gaping hole beneath, but we don't care. It's a good chalice. Now I would like to add some gems and diamonds onto it and cover it with gold and pearls, and maybe start sculpting some dents and cuts and marks of ancient tools that were used to make this chalice. But that I'm leaving to you. I'm here just to teach you. I'm not here to brag with my 3D or artistic skills. You will be the one bragging with those soon. If you, of course, continue to watch my YouTube channel, to subscribe, to like, to communicate, to ask something, to say hi, and that's it for tonight's introduction to Blender, episode 5. You're learning Blender and you'll do good, you'll do just fine, just like I do. That's all for tonight, and bye folks, see you tomorrow.